Then it went. That was my life. Welcome back, moms. Get ready with me today as I deep dive into the difference between being a mom and the journey of motherhood. Now, let's see if I can unpack this. The reason I'm talking about this today is because a friend of mine and I were talking about it, but also while I was researching the topic, the top story that came up on YouTube, or the top video that came up on YouTube, was a video where two people were discussing the difference between motherhood and being a mom, and the two people discussing it were men. While I appreciate that men are taking the time to analyze and think about such a topic, I also found it a little bit unsettling that the number one video on the topic was between two men and not women. So here I am today talking about it. I think it's an important topic and one that's a little bit hard to kind of nail down. I was talking to a friend of mine about this the other day. My friend is a female and she does not have children. And like me, I didn't really think about the difference of being a mom and motherhood until I had my own child, and I quickly learned what the difference is. And I was telling her how much harder motherhood has been for me than actually being a mom is. And she asked me to elaborate that she hadn't heard of that before, so I did. Brought up a few interesting topics, and those are kind of the things that I want to unpack today. First, I'll get into what for me being a mom is, because of course there's not a blanket or general answer for this topic. For me, being a mom is the general act of taking care of and having the responsibility of a child in basic terms. It's making sure this said child is fed, is taken care of, is engaged, is healthy, and is clothed. Those kinds of basic needs. It's making decisions on behalf of this person that are in their best interest. What I feel to be like the most daily ongoing aspect of being a mother is supporting your child, helping them to grow while they learn to be basically a human. It's true, they're learning to be humans and we're helping them. We're helping support them physically, mentally, emotionally, intellectually. That's being a mom to me. Is everything else and what is now your life that doesn't necessarily involve direct connection to your child, but has directly been impacted by your having a child. Motherhood for me is healing in postpartum, physically, emotionally, all the things. This was a lot harder than I expected it to be. Before I had a child, I was healthy, and even during pregnancy, I'm healthy, I'm athletic, all the things, I eat well. I assumed healing in postpartum would be, I wasn't concerned. I thought it would be, not that it would be easy, but I thought it would go by pretty quickly. Maybe I would be healed within a year. I was wrong. Healing in postpartum I'm on almost year 3. I'm still dealing with some and healing from issues in labor and delivery. I have stress-induced urinary incontinence. I'm still dealing with changes in my hair 3 years later, my skin, losing the baby weight. Still dealing with that too. Then there's breastfeeding or pumping or both if you choose to do it. That is definitely a part of motherhood. Because first of all, not only is it coming from your body and it's something that you need to deal with physically, you also have to find strategic places to do it, especially if you don't stay at home with your child. Like me, I have a job. In that job, I occasionally travel. So I have had to find very strategic ways of breast pumping out in life and in my work environment that I didn't have to think about before. I've gotten very good at finding places to breast pump while in my car. Motherhood is just navigating all the different aspects of your life that have now changed since you've had a child. So for me, that has been obviously myself. I am no longer my number one priority. Most women, after they become a mother or have a family, if they ever were their number one priority, they're now well down that list. They're well down behind their family, their marriage, other relationships in their life, their career, and they're somewhere at the bottom. That's my story, and not one I'm proud of. I don't think that's a great thing, but it is very easy to let happen. Also, you're going to experience changes in your relationships. Maybe definitely with your spouse if you have one. Your partner and you are definitely going to have changes after you have your child. Whatever relationship you had with your spouse before you had a child, it's not going to be the same anymore. This was a harsh reality for me. It's now different, and you have to navigate that. Also with your friends. This one was really hard for me. Your friendships are going to change after you have a child, especially if your friends don't have kids. If your friends have kids, you're lucky because now you have built-in support group. But if your friends don't, even if they are fantastic and wonderful, very supportive, your relationship is going to change because your priorities now have changed. So it's going to affect them. A surprising relationship in my life that changed, but changed for the positive, was that of with my mother. My mother and I have always had a good relationship, but I was very surprised at how much more rich it would become after I had a child, because now we can relate to each other on a different level. And she's supporting me in ways she didn't have to before. And not only do I need that support from her, and I'm so grateful that I have it, it's just made our relationship so much more well-rounded and dynamic and just a lot deeper. So there's a positive. Your changes in your career. This one is tough because you can't anticipate, especially if you're having your first child, you can't anticipate how you're going to feel about your career or your job after you have a child. Your feelings and what you want out of life changes after you have kids. So this is tough to navigate. Once you have a child, your finances are now prioritized around your child, as they should be. This is very natural. The cost of raising a child is very expensive, much more expensive than I expected it to be. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but I do have a video where I do break that down if you want to check it out. I'll link it up here at the top. So all of these components together, in my experience as a mother, because the truth is I'm not an expert. I'm no psychologist. I'm not a person who's done extensive research on this with hundreds and hundreds of moms. I'm just a mom. I'm a mom with a full-time job, a marriage, friendships I'm trying to keep together, and I'm basically holding it together by a thread on a daily basis. So just speaking from personal experience here. Everything has changed and life is harder. So if I'm being asked like what is different, what is harder, or what's harder, being a mom or motherhood, 100% I'm saying motherhood. Being a mom is hard. While as hard as it is and how taxing it is on not only your money, your body, your time, your energy, your youth, and the list can go on and on and on, it is so deeply rewarding and so totally satisfying, at least in my experience. So however hard motherhood is, doesn't even come close to how rewarding it is and how much it's improved and just enhanced my life. But motherhood is tricky because I have not found motherhood to be as rewarding. And I don't want to leave that in a negative note because I don't think it has to be that way. I think there are lots of opportunities for motherhood to be rewarding. It just takes a lot of effort. One of the big things that I think, and part of the reason why I started this channel, is because I feel like the thing that can make motherhood much easier is having a community that's willing to support each other. So that's what I'm encouraging on this channel. So while we have addressed and I have unpacked the differences between motherhood and being a mom and which is harder for me, I want to leave on a positive note. Whatever motherhood is or isn't, and whatever being a mom is or isn't, it has 100% been worth it to me. I would do it a million times over again if given the opportunity. I feel like it's extremely important to help foster and nurture a supportive community and a supportive environment for people experiencing parenthood, and specifically women going through motherhood. So that's what I'm doing here. Leave in the comment section any comments, thoughts, or personal stories you have about your experience in motherhood or being a mom that I didn't touch on today, or something I did touch on that you have added thoughts on. I would love to hear from you. Thank you, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Still gotta get ready for work though.